Hello, everyone. I am Mark Skinner. I'm here with my good friends, Greg Cleghorn and Kenneth Nelson. We are three Black Pratt grads. And every couple of days, we have these photo talks. We talk about photography and related subjects. And this week, we are talking about, well, you got to see it my way. And we got to see it my way. It's basically, it's going to be a really short show. How we prefer to view our photographs. Some people prefer all sorts of different things. Some people prefer slides and negatives and all the rest of that. But if you go to my first slide, Ken, I prefer, because I grew up in the analog world, I prefer a printed piece. And I do mean a printed piece, not just a photographic printed piece, but my preference is just ink on paper, not even toner, but not jet ink, but like a printing press ink. This is a page from my Blurb portfolio. I created put my online portfolio in a book form through Blurb, a hardcover book, and I selected a few pages, and so you can see that shine. And what's really nice is the tonalities of a printed piece. You can see the separation in the model's hair. You can see the separation in the really dark gray background, all the skin tones, and that sheen of the luster of the paper. It's just a wonderful touch for me to the image. Keep going. There's another page. There's only about 2 or 3 pages from that portfolio book, but I just wanted to show you guys that, you know, we talk a lot about images and digital images, and sometimes we talk about film, but I really just like the printed page.
Mermaid.
Yeah, right. No, that's another model. It's another pageant winner. This was done a couple of years ago at the beach. Despite what it looks like, we did not fake that. That's actually at a Jersey beach, and we photographed this model in front of the ocean. And I made a point to make sure the waves were hitting the rocks just at the right time for a variety of exposures to get that. And the sky was blue like that, and that's everything. She wore a white dress. Of course, we have other images, but that particular image is at the top of my LinkedIn page. I should probably change it. It's been there for a while, but
it looks like a mermaid.
Yeah, right. No, yeah. I'll have to ask. Are you part mermaid? Anyway, next. And I really wanted to show the sheen again, so in case anyone is someone who really doesn't get to see a lot of magazines or printed coffee table style books. I know it sounds crazy to think that people haven't, but in this age of screens where everyone goes from a computer screen to a television screen to the phones and to tablets, you know, you might not get a chance to, thumb through a magazine or a coffee table book and really appreciate what that entails. And so I just wanted to show, I think this might be the final one. You know, how that sheen reflects, how the light looks, how the printing looks. It's just a wonderful experience to turn the pages of a book and to be able to have that experience viewing the images rather than just swiping a phone or clicking on a little arrow on the screen all the time. That's really it.
You like that print.
That's how you see it my way. I mean, to me, I think of all photographs as printable pieces. There are other things, and I'm sure you guys will get into them, but they're for me, ultimately, it really just boils down to a printed page that someone can look at with themselves, just themselves in the publication. That's my favorite way. And so the portfolio. I mean, that's before we had all this digital stuff. That's the way you would create one. If you didn't use photos in a photographic print, but if you actually went out of the way to make a printed book, this would be it. Okay, who's up next?
I don't know. Did we decide who's second up? You want to go, Ken?
No, we didn't. So I'm gonna pick Ken. All right, and Ken.
Okay, I will.
So we got to see it your way.
Yep, you got to see it my way, and my way is and it's interesting because it's not necessarily uh, and it's not necessarily medium to some degree. It's really a size. And what I like to say is that I like photographs that are relatively large in scale, and I'm not talking about poster size. I'm just talking about in the neighborhood of 16 by 20 to 20 by 30. So therefore, it can be a digital screen that's 20 by 30, or it could be a print that's 20 by 30, or a print that's 16 by 20. That to me is interactive because it's not too big where it's a poster, and it's big enough so that you can, to some degree, handle it. A 16 by 20 you can handle in your hands. 20 by 30 you can most likely handle in your hands too. And of course, the optimal viewing distance for 16 by 20 is relatively close, as opposed to a 20 by 30, which is slightly far away. But nonetheless, both big enough so that you can immerse yourself in them. Right at the distance which is the standard viewing distance, and whether it's color, black and white, it doesn't matter, and whether it's a digital screen or print, it doesn't matter. It's the size for me that counts because I want to be immersed in the image. I can be equally immersed in an image on a digital screen as I am on a print. Just for reference, when I talk to you on these screens, my computer screen is a 27-inch diagonal screen. So optimally, I like to see images, and I'm sitting about 2.5 feet from the screen. So that sort of gives you an idea of how immersive I like to be when I'm looking at an image on a full screen of a computer screen. So that's my preference. Greg, you got it next.
Yeah,
That's
right.
it.
Well,
That's it.
how do I see it your way? How do I see it your way?
That's it.
That's it,
Wait,
man.
no prints. No,
No
we don't
print,
get
no
to
image,
see it.
nope. You just
Oh man!
you just go for it for yourself and
All
fix.
right.
I thought you were going to just wave a negative at one point and say, "I like to see the
Something.
negative."
Nope.
Or show a print or something. We can't
Yeah.
even see a computer. All
No, you hey, use your imagination. Okay, Greg.
right. I see an iMac. I see an iMac.
Yep, you do.
Oh, funny thing. They were talking about that huge hack. What was it? That big hack that just happened not too long ago. And there was a guy from the government who was like a cyber guy, anti-terrorism,
Uh-huh.
cyber terrorism, blah blah blah. And he's talking about this thing, looking real stern on 60 Minutes or whatever it was. And then they always do a cutaway of him working at his desk.
Uh-huh.
Guess what kind of computer he was working on? Mac. It's an Apple. Okay. Okay. Anyway, moving right along. Okay. You got to see it my way. You want to see it my way? I'm kind of like on the page with Ken. Give me big and thick and juicy. All right. Now this, of course, is the world famous. Maybe not world, but this is the inside of Union Station. Amtrak's train station is a transportation hub. Buses, trains, no planes yet, or car planes and like that. But it's the Union Station, and it's this big, beautiful station. Not as big and beautiful as Grand Central, albeit it has its um, allure. And they just recently did a big award show in there because it was big and empty, and they have plenty of space. So what I like big. I mean, if I could print big, like Ken said, no, give me.
Oh, okay. We will give him. We'll give him time to join us back again.
I told you, Ken, you got to get one of those little slides like they used to have that said technical difficulties, so that if any of us drop out,
No,
the
Greg.
Can you
presentation.
hear me?
We can hear you, but we don't see your video at this moment.
Now, where is this? Is this a dining hall somewhere?
No, that's like I want to say a converted waiting room, but that's one of
Okay.
the just trans areas between the outside of the outside in LA land and inside transiting towards the train. So it used to be a big.
Is that Union Station?
Yes, it is. That's what I said. Union Station in downtown LA. Los Angeles.
Okay.
And
I've never
it's
been
just
there, so I couldn't. Yeah, I have no frame of reference, so this will have to be it. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Well, that's part of what I was talking about, where I'd like to see it big. This is
Uh-huh.
just seeing it uh, as just a print, like an 8 by 10. Even a 20 by 30 doesn't do this justification. I would, if I had my druthers and I could get one of those big, Epson prints where I could print a 8 foot print, that's where I would live, because there's just something. I mean, even here, I just like you were saying, you like to experience the image, just like linger. When I used to go to the museums, which I'll start doing again now that they're open again, but I could, pick one of those giant paintings and just sit there, kind of, gobsmacked, and just like look at all the detail. And I was like, oh, and there's just something. There's something. The colors that, what I love about this is like the contrast of those deep blues everywhere, and that gold on the walls, and the brown, and the light coming from different area, and it's interacting with the marble floors and everything. And there's just it's just visually rich. You can find details. People seeing how people are passing through this thing. It's a transportation hub, so people are moving, and all of this and grooving. So go on to the next one. I just did a whole series of them, and actually this is kind of looking the other way. Still in Union Station. That is actually the waiting area, or the one area that's actually still a waiting area. And what I like about this one, it tells, images are storytelling to me. And this one, you got the ticket booth on the left, and then you just pass through and you see all the people. And not that I wish, but I kind of like, old movies, or where everybody, when you went traveling, you kind of dressed up. You had at least a jacket. Women had dresses and hats, and nice clutches and such. People here kind of like t-shirts and shorts and flip flops, and it's not a dress up thing. Everybody's casual, but the space is just so grand. That it could have been cut off at the columns, and that would have been one story. But showing that the ticket booth on one side, and the tickets vending machine on the other, and all the security guard, and people coming and going, waiting for their trains. I just love the energy of being able to see, like, that whole
So
scope of view.
what dimensions would you like to have this printed
Man,
on?
I'd like to
And
see
yeah,
this.
and
I mean,
what
this
media?
size. Like I'd love to see it mural size, like maybe 10 feet wide would be fun.
10 feet
And
wide? Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Color would be cool. I mean, it would be super expensive, but if I could get like a sponsor, just to, like a transportation series, this could be a lot of fun, because I mean, I like what I don't like about, like Ken was saying. What I don't like about the swipe left or swipe right culture is that it's too quick. I like to linger in an image.
Yep.
You know, like a painting. It's like, unlike a snapshot. Where you just kind of, I wanted all of this information in the picture. From the guy at the ATM on the right, or the ticket machine on the right there,
Mm-hmm.
to the empty ticket booths on the left. The
Mm-hmm.
security guard and the people lounging. I wanted, like the repetition of the windows going down this huge corridor, the chandeliers on top. There's a lot of information in there that people don't take the time to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a kick out of, see, it's like going to the Grand Canyon and saying, "Oh, there's the half dome. Okay, let's go." Really? It just there's something awe-inspiring about the open spaces, and there's something awe-inspiring about just being able to see all this information and take it all in, and the browns of the tile flooring, and the green, and the light, and it's, for me, it's like a painting, where all of this information is just boom, it's there. And just a visual feast or visual meal for the eye. You just go in and you get to see how people are are living, or transiting, or some are doing what they do. Some are happy about it. So most of them are, in their own world, like New York City subway, like that series that you did, Ken, on the subway. Because these people are almost oblivious to you because they're in their own little world, which
Hmm.
is kind of cool. But, all right, you can go on to the next one. And this is, the same thing as like last year. I went on a cruise, and of course, you're thinking of the Titanic thing, but you can't help but um, you know, get a kick out of just the way they make these dining halls grand, and you know echoing back to the great days of cruise ships, of the Titanic, and when just about getting across the ocean was by sea was like the only way to get there. So they make these three tiers, like a birthday cake with three levels, and all the dynasty. The food's not very good. What are you gonna do? You're trying to feed 1,000 people a day. They're gonna miss some things, everything. But just if you never do it, go and do the off menu items. So anyway, but yeah, like about this, the repetition of the chairs around the room. There's so much visually to just to take in. And yeah, if this was in an exhibit or a show or transportation, this would be something that I would want big so that I could go all the way. And then, the house, like all these people here, and then this the grand staircase, and there's nobody there except for these two figures on
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of fun that it's juxtaposed to all of this
Yeah.
activity over here, and then there's nothing
Yeah.
over there. You saying something, Ken?
No, I'm just saying that apologies for those people who are watching this episode on a small screen, such as an iPhone or a small phone or a tablet, because you will be missing the essence of most of these wider images because they need to be seen at as large a scale as possible, even if you're watching them on a screen. So the larger screen you have to view these on, I think the better, especially this particular one, which I have an affinity for because I think it's just the piece that I think signifies this for me is the right side, the right one quarter of this image, which is it's funny because to me it looks like two separate images
Exactly.
together, but it's not. It's actually one continuous image, and that's the unique part of it. And not only the fact that that part of it, that part of the screen is not empty; it's occupied, which it holds more relevance for me than anything. So I like that.
Okay, cool. Relevance because
Because it's occupied by two people and I think yeah, they're doing something specific which I think is sort of romantic, so it has that sort of cinematic feel to it which you were alluding to before.
okay, yeah, it's like the space for the masses, and then there's this intimate space on the side. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's why when I saw that, I was like, "Ooh, I want that." I tried to capture that, and I like that. So go on to the next
Yeah,
one. I
I
love
think
it.
it's a really great. I think it's a really great composition. I would just like to see the columns more vertically aligned rather than tilting in either direction. That I have a little bit of trouble with, but otherwise, I agree with Ken. It's a really uh,
Vertically.
luxurious photograph, and you get to see a tremendous opulence, and it's really nice to see that span. It doesn't look so much like two different photos, but if one is not familiar with the space, as I am not so familiar with the space, I would think that would be just an ultra wide rather than a panoramic of one side of the dining hall rather than, I mean, how many degrees is this? Is this about 300 degrees or is it about 180? What's the angle of view?
It's about 100 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
it actually
Hundred,
it actually feels more so.
yeah, maybe 120 or so.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not to get to the technical side. Now, are you saying there's like a parallax or something? What do you mean the columns you like to see?
Well, on the left side seems to be tilting toward the left, and the column that separates the stairwell from the dining hall seems ever so slightly to the right. Other than leaning in either direction, I really like the way you've composited this. Not composited, made the composition for this photo. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
We got too caught up in all the minutia and all the details. They are slightly tilted, but it's not parallaxed because the column to the extreme left is sort of leaning in. It's sort of leaning inward. So um, it's interesting that we see that. Okay, well, moving right along. Thanks for the compliment and the composition. Now, again, this early morning in. All right, 2 Oreo cookies for anybody who can guess where this is.
That would be the
Okay,
canal behind your place.
What?
That'd be the canal behind your place. That's one of the footbridges that connect one part of your complex to another part of town.
Yeah.
Oh, that was my old complex.
Mm.
That was these are the multi-million-dollar homes in Venice Beach. Let me tell you, these houses, even the shacks are like worth $1.5 million. Anyway, this is one of my wanderings, and they say all those who wander are not lost. So, did you know that the Greek, is it Greek for planet means wanderer? Did you know that?
No, I did not.
There you go. You just learned something. Um. Anyway, yeah. So I kind of get like a wild hair every now and then. I'm like, okay, where are these canals in Venice? Why do they call it? I didn't see one gondolier, not one. I was like, come on, we got gondoliers in Las Vegas, but
Well, there's plenty of canoes and kayaks, though.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And paddle boats and all kinds of things. I actually think that somebody does bring like a gondola type boat and put it and offer rides in the canals. But yeah, I mean, every so often I'll just get a wild hair and I'll go out and I'll say, okay, I want to see what this is. I'll look through a little, highlights of LA book and find something and just go for it. And this was one of those days, and I came across this bridge, and it was just, the time of day. I like time of day is important to me, and we're talking about how you like to see it. I like to see detail, or painting with light so that there's detail in just about everything. And I like the reflection on the water. I like the time of day where the clouds still had some color to it, or just enough um, light on them to have detail, and there was color and everything, and and then to see because this stuff like this and the size and such is important to me in taking a look at things my way, because have you ever like gone someplace and it just kind of wows you and you're just standing there and you do like that whole like 180 to try to take in everything, and you're looking and it's like all this beauty and everything is just, it's 360,
Yeah.
Has that ever? No? Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I,
No.
and I think this is the best one out of the set for me because you've got the double reflection. I don't think I've ever seen the double reflection uh,
Double
like
reflection?
that.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you've got the actual reflection of the canal itself with the sky, and then you've got the imposed reflection that you've created by positioning yourself on a point on the bridge, in where the one side of the canal is reflective of the other side of the canal.
So it
And
almost looks like a mirror image.
Right. It looks like a mirror image from one side to the other, and then there's a mirror image from the top to the bottom. But I like this one most because um, you've actually crafted the double reflection. I mean, you could find places where the sky doesn't reflect in the water, and you could also find places where the two sides of the canal, that as it crosses beneath the bridge, they don't reflect either. But you made a point to choose this spot at this time, and I think it's very successful. I mean, I could quibble about some things, but I like it a lot.
Oh, quibble! Come on, it wouldn't be Mark if you didn't quibble. Get it out of your system, man. You probably have nightmares if you don't.
No, I
Well,
mean,
makes
I mean,
sense.
I
That makes
you
sense.
know, the big decision is, well, do I make the bridge itself perfectly symmetrical in the center or not? And I think it's fine like this. Um, I think some people might kind of say, well, if you make it perfectly symmetrical, it's just even that more. But this is okay. I like it. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, I don't see the symmetry of the bridge. It's kind of okay. All right, well, there it is. Thanks
Okay.
for the quibble. That was a good quibble.
All right. So
Um,
I guess is this all we have to contribute to seeing it our way?
I
yeah,
think I
there's.
had something I wanted to ask, but I forgot what the heck it was.
Oh no,
Oh,
come
oh,
on.
and I
Oh,
think Greg, it had to basically do with yours, and I think Mark, you may reminisce about this too. And it's because I think one of the reasons why I enjoy seeing images large is because one of the first experiences I've ever had was seeing an image large. And if you've ever been to Grand Central Terminal in Manhattan when you were younger in the 70s and 80s, they had a great big Duratran over the, I think it's the escalator or somewhere there. And they always, Kodak had that spot ripped up for decades. And they'd lay out one of their major Duratrans, and basically, what is it, I think 10, 15 feet, maybe even longer.
I don't
Uh,
remember the
it's
dimensions, but it
it
was
was
one continuous piece of
yeah,
Duratrans.
and it was huge, and it was just
well,
expansive, and that sort of I know that had an impact on me, whether it was direct or indirect or visceral or whatever. It was great.
okay. For those who don't know what a Duratran is, it's just a large print,
It's just a
or
large,
it's like a
yeah,
rear projection image, right?
yeah,
It's
Like a
it's the
large
same.
print.
It's the same. It has the same emulsion as a regular C print, a regular photographic C print, on a mylar substrate or a plastic substrate, I should say. And the plastic is translucent. It's white, but you can see through it. And so, rather than being totally transparent, like a transparency or a photographic slide, it has just
It has
enough
its own base.
opaque, just enough opacity on the base, like a frosted base, so that it looks like it's white when there's a light source behind it. And it's the same sort of thing they had at bus stands for many years. Duratrans. They probably they don't use those so much anymore. Excuse me. Do you know who used to talk about murals when we were at Pratt? I don't know if you guys had this conversation with her. It was Nina Prentice.
Yeah.
Used to say that she felt that a large mural was more intimate for the viewer than a 11 by 14 or an 8 by 10, because when you enter a room that has a mural in it, you walk right in and you're immersed.
yeah.
You got to remember this is before the ubiquitous screens all over the place. So just to see an image, you had to go kind of seek them out or turn on the television. Excuse me. So if you wanted to see a large print, you had to go somewhere where there was a large print. It wasn't
Well, I kind
easy.
of I kind of agree with that, and I do remember
Excuse me.
maybe not the one at Times Square, but the effect of a large
Yeah,
image,
they
and
had one in Times
also,
Square.
mhm. And not to knock it, but the even the looking at stuff. There's something about, I mean, because basically when we're looking at a screen, we're looking at, if you will, grant me this, the transparency. Where the light is coming from behind the image,
Yeah,
and it's illuminating the
yeah.
image, which is a different experience than looking at a print where it's
Well,
reflected.
well, true, and that's why I like a printed piece, because it's a little tougher to do in some ways, because every picture. I mean, if you look at Instagram, there are a lot of fantastic images, and there's a lot of, images that aren't that special. But because, as you said, the light's emanating from a screen directly into our retina, we're getting that visual stimulation anyway, and so it's not the same as a reflective photograph on a page or on a print, where in some ways, I guess I'm kind of not talking about vision so much as, it takes a little more interesting subject matter to get your attention from a print, and that's kind of, for me.
When you do see an exceptional image backlit, like on the screen or whatever, it really pops there.
Right, and that's why some of the older ones were really so special, is because they would start with either a transparency, or they would start with a black and white negative. But ultimately, I'm sure before they dedicated the Duratran, I'm sure they printed a lot of iterations on smaller prints to make sure they got the crop right, make sure they got the tonality right, make sure that they knew that that was the image they wanted to magnify. There were a lot of steps, I'm sure, between the initial photograph and the Duratran. I mean, these days you can take a picture and go directly to print within seconds, if you've got an inkjet printer or a laser printer, access.
Right, but it's more than just the technical part of it. I mean, that's the basic photography. Is making the image look as good, or shooting the image, capturing the best image possible, and then with the basic photographic processes, dodging and burning, spotting and toning, but to be able to bring out as much detail in the image to make it as visually appealing as possible. And I think that gets a little lost, with the immediacy of just being able to, snap a picture and, ooh, look what I got. I got this guy doing that. I got this. And there's, if you're looking at it critically, there's details, like you were saying, the columns are a little slanted, or, whatever. But if there's a critical, if you're like, doing the zone system like Ansel, if you look at his prints, they're fun to look at because there's detail everywhere, meticulous care to make sure that, everywhere you look, there's something to look at, and it gives you time to actually be in it. Or now, I think I don't know if it's out here. I'm not sure if it's back in New York. I'm sure it is, because New York is always, when they have the exhibits for Van Gogh painting or different artists projected on the wall.
Yeah.
So it's when you walk, like Mark was saying, you have a mural. It's not just a mural. It's immersive because you walk into the painting, and it's moving, and elements are, and it's 360. So it's a totally different experience when you're looking at something big. You see things that you didn't see before, and it changes the whole experience of it changes the whole visual experience. And that's the way I like to people to see things my way. And that's all I got. Abadi, that's it. That's all, folks.
All right. So, you want to wrap this up, or?
No, go ahead, Mark.
I'm just saying, respect the game. Be a player, get out there and learn your camera, learn what it can do, learn what it can't do, learn your After Effects, that's a motion. Anyway, your Photoshop or your other photographic manipulating tools that can enhance. Pay attention to the time of day. Look, that last one I shot at Venice Beach. I went back almost every week. I was trying to get more clouds, and I was trying to get like one of those crazy sunsets that look like a mirror, all the colors and oranges and yellows. And I could not get it. It drove me nuts for about 4 months. Something about living in the desert. The sky is usually those clouds. You don't get that many clouds. Probably more so by the beach. I'm just yakety. But anyway, try to anticipate, use the cameras to its strengths. Watch your time of day. Try to paint with light. Learn your camera and keep shooting. I mean, there's nothing like getting somebody to see something your way. Am I right, Mr. Skinner?
I agree with you. I mean, it's just really important to know your tools, I mean, you know, that's really it. Know your tools, and that includes your image editing materials. And you know, for me, you should really know where your photographs, where your intention is for them to end up. I mean, what is the final viewing medium? You know, what's the ultimate? I should say the ultimate viewing place of your pictures. Would they be on the screen? You know, because that's one type of experience, or printed or painted on a wall somewhere. I mean, that's really
Make
the
it as
thing.
good as you possibly can.
True. But I mean, maybe we might have to have part two of this, because you know the scale of the image dictates the type of image that you create, as well as you know where it's placed. You know, but
And
that's
he
a whole other.
like Chuck Close. Remember him? I went to seeing his work at a museum, and you step into the space, and there's this 8-foot head staring at you in like super sharp detail, and you're like, whoa, that's a little uncomfortable, but it's cool. You know. So yeah,
The
definitely.
thumbnail of that original thought, you know, because he obviously thought about how he was going to scale up something that he did first. I mean, you don't just decide one day, I'm going to take a paintbrush and start painting pixels, you know, painting little dots until I get some. You sort of structure out. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. Should we wrap it up?
Go ahead, Mark.
Well, this is the three Black Pratt grads, and we have been speaking about seeing it our way. And I evening to all of you. And I am Mark Skinner, and I'm here with Kenneth Nelson and Greg Cleghorn. And have a great evening. Talk to you next time.